A bright streak in 2026. Which signs will emerge from the crisis? Aries. For Aries, 2026 marks a true breakthrough from the dark corridor many of you have been in for the past few years. The crisis, which dragged on with varying success, was connected not only to external circumstances but also to internal conflicts. You've been pushing yourself too hard for too long, taking on more than you could handle, proving to the world and yourself that you could handle anything. But this is precisely what led to burnout, disappointment, loss of direction, and the feeling that your efforts weren't yielding the desired results. A bright streak in 2026 for Aries doesn't begin abruptly, but gradually, like dawn after a long night. Already in the first months of the year, you'll feel the tension that previously hung in the air constantly begin to ease. People, situations, and even thoughts that were holding you back will begin to disappear from your life on their own. This may be painful because you're used to fighting for everything to the bitter end, but letting go will be the first step to renewal. The main turning point for Aries is related to self-recognition. In 2026, you will finally begin to see your value not through suffering and sacrifice, but through your true abilities, talents, and experience. Many Aries will understand that the crisis wasn't punishment, but preparation. It taught you to distinguish the empty from the real, the temporary from the important, the illusion from the real. In the area of work and money, a bright spot manifests itself through new opportunities that may initially seem like a risk. You may be offered a change of direction, take on an unusual role, or start something from scratch. It's important to understand. This isn't a return to the chaos of the past, but a transition to a new level. Those Aries who dare to step outside the familiar will see the first fruits by mid-year. Money will begin to flow more steadily, rather than in fits and starts, as before. The feeling of constantly playing catch-up will disappear. On the contrary, you'll feel like you're beginning to control it. For many Aries, 2026 will bring a chance to restore lost resources. This applies not only to finances, but also to energy, health, and self-confidence. You'll begin to feel your body better, understanding when to stop and when to move forward. This is huge progress for a sign accustomed to living life at full speed. A positive streak here manifests itself as an ability to live not in struggle, but in harmony with yourself. Aries can expect a significant shift in their personal lives. If relationships were previously often built on passion, drama, and a clash of personalities, then in 2026 you'll begin to gravitate toward calm and security. Those already in a relationship will be able to experience a period of healing. Old resentments will begin to dissolve if you allow yourself to speak honestly and not hide vulnerability behind strength. Single Aries may meet someone who initially seems too calm or even boring. But it's in this silence that you'll feel the security you've been missing for the first time. A good streak is also associated with the return of dreams. During the years of crisis, many Aries stopped truly dreaming because they were afraid of being disappointed again. In 2026, you'll once again begin making plans not out of fear, but out of desire. These could be dreams of moving, starting your own business, family, creativity, or freedom. Most importantly, you'll once again believe that you have the right to want more. A very important moment for Aries in 2026 is the ability to forgive yourself. You've often blamed yourself for mistakes, for bad decisions, for the people you chose poorly. A good streak begins precisely when you stop being your own harshest judge. You'll understand that every step, even the most painful, led you to where you are now. And now you're stronger, wiser, and deeper than before. In the second half of the year, Aries will feel life becoming more predictable, in a positive way. The constant feeling that everything could collapse at any moment will disappear. You will learn to trust the process and yourself. This doesn't mean there won't be challenges, but you will now face them without panic, with the confidence that you can handle them. A good streak for Aries in 2026 isn't just luck, but a reward for the journey you've taken through pain, doubt, and loss. This is the time when you stop trying to survive and start living. When you no longer have to prove to the world that you're strong, because you finally know it yourself. This year gives you the chance to begin a chapter with less struggle and more meaning. Where you move forward not because you have to, but because you want to. Where your efforts bring joy, not just the results. And if you allow yourself to believe in this good streak, it truly will be the brightest chapter of your life in a long time. Taurus. For Taurus, 2026 marks a year of emerging from a prolonged period of stagnation. The crisis many of you experienced wasn't turbulent and destructive, but slow, drawn out, and exhausting. It was a state where things didn't seem so bad, but there was no joy, no inspiration, no forward movement. You felt like you were trudging through a swamp, taking one step at a time, but not feeling like you were getting any closer to your goal. The bright spot in 2026 begins with the feeling that the ground beneath your feet is becoming firmer. The first thing you'll notice is that the constant feeling of life fatigue will disappear. You'll no longer wake up feeling like you have to drag out the day again. An inner interest in the future will emerge. You'll begin to think not only about how to preserve what you have, but also about how to make your life better, brighter, and richer in meaning. A good streak for Taurus begins with a change in your attitude toward yourself. You've tolerated inconvenience for too long, settling for less than you deserved because you were afraid of losing stability. In 2026, you'll understand that true stability isn't patience, but the ability to create comfort where you are. You'll begin to change what's long irritated you but was considered the norm. This could be your job, lifestyle, environment, or relationships. In terms of money and career, 2026 will bring Taurus a long-awaited sense of growth. This isn't a sudden rise, but a confident upward movement. You'll begin to see the fruits of your previous efforts, even if you thought your efforts were in vain. A new source of income, a promotion offer, or a more favorable deal may appear. Most importantly, you'll feel that money is no longer a constant source of anxiety. For many Taurus, this year will be a time of financial rebalancing. Debts will be eliminated, obligations will decrease, and income will become more predictable. You'll be able to indulge yourself more than before, and not just in material terms. You'll allow yourself to relax, rejoice, and spend time on things that bring pleasure, not just benefit. A positive streak in 2026 will also manifest through inner healing. You've long carried resentments, disappointments, and feelings of being undervalued or used. These emotions have been holding you back, even if you pretended everything was fine. In 2026, you'll begin to let go of the past, not through struggle, but through understanding. You'll see that many situations no longer have power over you. A period of renewal awaits Taurus in your personal life. If you're in a relationship, in 2026 you'll be able to either take it to the next level or honestly admit it's time to go your separate ways. A positive streak doesn't always mean holding on to the old. Sometimes it signifies liberation. You'll no longer hold on to things that don't bring you warmth. For single Taurus, 2026 could bring a connection unlike anything you've experienced before. It won't be a blazing passion, but a quiet feeling, rich in respect, support, and calm. You'll feel like you can be yourself with this person, without having to prove yourself, fight for something, or even try to deserve it. A very important theme of the year will be the return of pleasure to life. Taurus naturally enjoys simple things, but during the years of crisis, you seem to have forgotten how. In 2026, you'll begin to notice the taste of food, the beauty of nature, the warmth of touch, and the joy of movement again. This will be a sign that you're emerging from inner darkness. A positive streak will also manifest itself in a greater confidence in your decisions. Previously, you often doubted, procrastinated, and waited for everything to resolve itself. In 2026, you'll begin to act calmer but more firmly. You'll know what you want and won't be afraid to go after it. The second half of the year will bring a sense of stability to Taurus. You'll feel like you can plan not just for the month, but for years to come. This will give you the inner peace you've been missing. You'll no longer live in anticipation mode. This lucky streak for Taurus is a time when you stop trying to survive and start living with pleasure. When every day stops feeling like a chore and becomes a space for joy, growth, and warmth. This is the year in which you return to your true self, calm, strong, able to love life and let it love you in return. Gemini. For Gemini, 2026 will be a year of emerging from chaos. The crisis of recent years felt like an endless race of thoughts, decisions, roads, and people. You were rushing between options, changing plans, starting and abandoning them, searching for yourself in several directions at once. This gave the illusion of progress, but inside, fatigue was growing and a feeling of losing your integrity was growing. The bright spot in 2026 begins with an inner silence, which may even be frightening at first. You will suddenly notice that you no longer want to be torn between everything at once. You will want to choose one thing, but truly. It could be a task, a person, a place, a path. And this choice will be the beginning of a new life. You will stop living in a state of constant uncertainty and begin to build something sustainable. The bright spot for Gemini is associated with finding your footing. In 2026, you'll begin to feel like you have an inner core you previously lacked. You'll become more confident in your words and actions. People around you will notice a change. You'll gain depth, seriousness, and reliability, without losing your lightheartedness and vivacity. In the areas of work and money, the year will bring important changes. Many Geminis will change their focus or find a way to combine their disparate skills into a single project. What previously seemed like a chaotic experience will suddenly come together into a coherent picture. You'll realize that nothing was wasted. A financial streak begins when you stop spreading yourself too thin. You'll learn to focus and see things through to completion. This will bring not only satisfaction but also real money. Your ideas will find support, your projects will be resonant, and your words will carry weight. In your personal life, Gemini, 2026 will be a year of honesty. You'll no longer want to play roles, pretend, or conform to other people's expectations. You'll begin to say what you feel and do what you truly want. This can either strengthen your relationship or end it if it was based on illusions. If you're in a relationship, in 2026 you'll be able to either deepen your connection or realize that your paths no longer meet. A bright spot here isn't always about preserving the old ways. It's an opportunity to be authentic. Single Geminis may meet someone with whom you won't have to be different every day. You'll feel like you can be yourself and still be engaging. This will be a calm, yet very warm, story. The theme of self-worth will play a major role in 2026. Previously, you often sought confirmation of your worth in the outside world. In people's reactions, in the amount of work you do, in recognition. Now you'll begin to feel value within yourself. This will make you calmer and freer. A positive streak will also manifest itself through the ability to rest. You'll finally allow yourself to stop running all the time. You'll learn to stop, enjoy the moment, and be here and now. This will become a source of new energy. In the second half of the year, Geminis will feel their lives becoming clearer. The feeling of fog will disappear. You'll see where you're going and why. This will give you a sense of confidence that was previously rare in your life. A positive streak for Geminis is a return to wholeness. When you're no longer torn between roles, but become yourself. When life ceases to be a collection of random episodes and turns into a coherent story in which you are the protagonist, not a casual observer. Cancer. For Cancers, 2026 marks a year of emerging from an emotional crisis. The past few years have been a time of intense emotions, losses, disappointments, and constant inner tension. You felt too much and allowed yourself too little rest from these feelings. You've dredged up old grievances, pain, regrets, and fears, thinking that this was how you maintained a connection to the past. But in reality, it was keeping you in the shadows. The bright spot in 2026 begins with the liberation of the heart. You'll notice that it's becoming easier to breathe. What once brought tears will no longer hurt so deeply. You'll begin to let go of people, events, and words that should no longer have had power over you. This won't be a sudden breakup. It will be a gentle but confident parting with what has exhausted itself. The bright spot for Cancers is associated with the restoration of your inner home. You'll feel safe again, first within yourself, and then in the outside world. The feeling of constantly expecting a blow or disappointment will disappear. You'll begin to trust life a little more than before. In terms of work and money, 2026 will bring a sense of stability to Cancers. Whereas previously income may have been uneven and plans often fell through, you'll now begin to see a clearer picture. A job may appear where you feel needed and valued. For some Cancers, this will mean returning to an old career, but under new conditions. This financial upswing will manifest itself not so much in a sharp increase in income as in the disappearance of constant fear for the future. You'll stop living in a state of anxiety and begin to plan calmly. Money will become a tool, not a source of pain. In your personal life, 2026 will be a time of healing for Cancers. If you've experienced a breakup, loss, or a difficult period in a relationship, this is the year when true inner recovery will begin. You'll stop comparing everyone to the past and start seeing people for who they are. For those in relationships, 2026 could be a year of renewal. You'll be able to either recapture the warmth and intimacy, or honestly admit it's time to move on. A good streak is always about the truth, even if it hurts at first. Single Cancers may meet a very caring person. This won't be a passionate affair, but a quiet, deep connection, filled with care and respect. You'll feel that with this person, you can be vulnerable and unafraid. A very important theme of the year will be self-acceptance. You've long believed that you should be comfortable, caring, and self-sacrificing. In 2026, you'll realize that you have the right to be different. Strong, weak, joyful, and tired. You'll stop demanding the impossible from yourself. A good streak will also manifest itself in a return to joy in simple things. Home, family, friends, silence, comfort, all of this will begin to fill you again, rather than leaving you feeling tired. You'll learn to replenish yourself, not just give. In the second half of the year, Cancers will feel like the past is no longer holding them by the throat. Memories will cease to be a trap and become simply part of history. You'll live in the present, without escaping into the past or fearing the future. For Cancers, a bright spot is a time when the heart ceases to be a battlefield and becomes a home. A home you want to return to. A home where you can cry and laugh, make mistakes, and start anew. This is the year when you'll once again believe that love, warmth, and peace aren't a rare stroke of luck, but your natural state. Leo. For Leos, 2026 marks a year of recovery from a self-esteem crisis. Outwardly, you may have appeared strong, confident, and successful, but inside, many of you have been experiencing deep self-doubt. You were accustomed to being a support system for others, a leader, a source of strength, but in recent years, this role has become a heavy burden. You felt valued only for your results, not for yourself. A turning point in 2026 begins with a return to self-respect. You will begin to see that you don't need to constantly prove your worth. People around you will treat you differently with greater attention, recognition, and warmth. This will happen not because you've become stronger, but because you've become more honest with yourself. A turning point for Leos is about allowing yourself to be less than perfect. You'll stop hiding fatigue, doubts, and fears behind a mask of confidence. And it's at this moment that you'll feel true acceptance. In the area of work and money, 2026 will bring Leos the opportunity to regain lost ground. If you previously felt stagnant or even slipping backwards, now you'll begin to see an upswing. You may be offered a new role, recognized for your achievements, and regain lost influence. Financial success will manifest itself through stability and increased respect for your work. You will no longer feel exploited or undervalued. Money will come as a confirmation of your value, not as a fluke. In Leo's personal lives, 2026 will be a time to renew your understanding of love. If you previously often loved through sacrifice or struggle, now you will begin to seek warmth, support, and mutual admiration in relationships. For those in a relationship, the year could be a time to strengthen your union. You will learn to share not only your strengths but also your weaknesses. This will deepen the bond. Single Leos may meet someone who sees in you not only a vibrant image but also a living soul. With him, you'll feel loved not for a role, but for the real you. A very important theme of the year will be the restoration of joy in life. You've long lived in a regime of responsibility and expectations. In 2026, you'll allow yourself to play, laugh, create, and rejoice without guilt. A positive streak will also manifest itself through creativity. Even if you don't consider yourself a creative person, you'll begin to express yourself more vividly in words, actions, style, and deeds. This will be a return to yourself. In the second half of the year, Leos will feel the world turning its face toward them again. The feeling of loneliness in a crowd will disappear. You'll feel support and recognition. A positive streak for Leos is a time when you stop being just the sun for others and become a light for yourself. When you understand that you have the right to love, rest, and joy not for what you've earned, but simply because you exist. Virgo. For Virgos, 2026 will be a year of recovery from inner exhaustion. The crisis of recent years was quiet but profound for you. You didn't shout about your pain, didn't complain, didn't create drama, but there was a constant tension within. You constantly tried to be useful, needed, correct, irreplaceable. And this is precisely what led to the feeling of being used, undervalued, and not truly seen. A bright streak in 2026 begins with a return to self-respect. You will suddenly feel that you no longer want to live for the expectations of others. You will desire to live by your own rules, even if not everyone likes it. This will be difficult, because you are used to adapting, smoothing over rough edges, and taking responsibility for everyone. But relinquishing the role of savior will be the first step to your freedom. A bright streak for Virgos begins with inner liberation. You will stop constantly analyzing every little thing, blaming yourself for mistakes, and replaying the past in your head. You'll begin to treat yourself more gently. This will be a true revolution in your life. In the area of work and money, 2026 will bring Virgos a sense of fairness. If you previously felt like you were doing more than you were receiving, now the balance will begin to be restored. Your work will become noticeable. You will be appreciated, listened to, and respected. Financial success will manifest itself through stability and the feeling that you are finally getting what you deserve. Money will no longer be a source of constant stress. You will be able to plan, save, and allow yourself more without feeling guilty. For many Virgos, 2026 will be a time of professional change. This could be a new position, a new direction, or even an entirely different field. And although change may be scary, it will be precisely this that will break you out of stagnation. In your personal life, Virgos can expect a profound rethinking of relationships. You will no longer want to be the one who always carries everything on their own. You'll stop making excuses for others' coldness, laziness, or indifference. A good streak is a time when you choose yourself. If you're in a relationship, 2026 could be either a year of renewal or a moment of honest separation. You'll no longer tolerate things that make you feel small and unnoticeable. Single Virgos may meet someone who appreciates your depth, care, and intelligence. This won't be a game, but a genuine connection in which you'll feel important. A very important theme of the year will be regaining your joy in life. You've long lived in a must mode. In 2026, you'll begin to ask yourself, do I want to? And this question will change everything. A good streak will also manifest itself through self-care. You'll begin to conserve your time, energy, and emotions. You'll learn to say no without guilt. This will make you stronger, not weaker. In the second half of the year, Virgos will feel life becoming easier. The feeling of constantly carrying too heavy a burden will disappear. You'll understand that you don't have to be perfect to be loved. A bright spot for Virgos is a time when you stop being a shadow of others' expectations and become the most important person in your life. When you allow yourself to live not just wrong, but happily. Libra. For Libra, 2026 will be a year of emerging from prolonged uncertainty. In recent years, you've felt like you've been living between yes and no, between stay and leave, between endure and start again. You've long tried to maintain balance where none existed. This led to an internal crisis, where you grew tired of your own doubts. A bright streak in 2026 begins with clarity. You'll suddenly feel a sense of no longer wanting to procrastinate. You'll be inspired to make choices maybe not ideal, but real ones. This will be a huge step forward for a sign accustomed to endlessly weighing everything. A bright streak for Libra begins with finding your inner voice. You'll stop relying solely on the opinions of others. You'll begin to ask yourself, what do I want? And the answers will come faster than before. In terms of work and money, 2026 will bring a sense of momentum for Libra. If you might have previously been stuck in one situation for a long time, now opportunities for growth will arise. This could be a new job, a new project, or a collaboration that will open up new horizons. Financial success will manifest itself through gradual improvement. You'll begin to feel the situation leveling out. Money will no longer disappear as quickly as it comes. You'll be able to plan and develop longer-term strategies. In your personal life, Libra, 2026 will be a year of honesty. You can no longer live in a relationship where you have to pretend. Success isn't always about preserving a relationship. Sometimes it's about the courage to admit that it's run its course. If you're in a relationship, the year could be either a time of renewal or a moment of separation. But either way, you'll emerge from the situation freer and more honest with yourself. Single Libras may meet a person with whom they won't constantly doubt themselves. This will be a relationship characterized by clarity, calm, and mutual respect. Self-confidence will be a very important theme of the year. You'll begin to trust your decisions. Even if something goes wrong, you won't blame yourself as harshly as before. A bright streak will also manifest itself through a return of joy. You'll begin to enjoy the little things, encounters, and new ideas again. Life will no longer seem like an endless choice between bad and worse. In the second half of the year, Libra will feel the fog clearing. You'll see the road ahead. This will give you peace and confidence. A bright streak for Libra is a time when you stop living by other people's expectations and start living your own life. When doubts give way to inner silence and the knowledge. I'm going where I really need to go. Scorpio. For Scorpios, 2026 marks a year of emerging from a profound inner war. For the past few years, you've lived in a state of constant tension. Struggling with people, circumstances, yourself, and the past. You've endured much in silence, gritting your teeth, not showing the world how difficult it was. Powerful processes were unfolding within you, old values were breaking, illusions were shattered, and your understanding of yourself and life was changing. The bright spot in 2026 begins with the end of this war. You'll feel that you no longer want to prove yourself, seek revenge, defend yourself, or be on guard every second. A desire to live, not to survive, will emerge. It will feel as if you finally emerged from a dungeon into the light. The light may initially blind you because you've become accustomed to the darkness, but it's in this light that you'll begin to see new possibilities. The bright spot for Scorpios begins with inner liberation. You'll release old grievances, not because you've forgiven everyone, but because you're tired of carrying this burden. You will understand that the past should no longer control your present. This will be one of the most powerful and fateful decisions. In the area of work and money, 2026 will bring Scorpios the opportunity to completely change their financial scenario. Whereas previously you could live in extremes, sometimes rich, sometimes poor, sometimes successful, now a period of alignment will begin. You will begin to build a system, rather than living in fits and starts. Financial success will manifest itself through the ability to control resources. You will become wiser in spending, more strategic in earning, and more far-sighted in planning. Money will cease to be a weapon and become a tool. Many Scorpios will decide to take bold steps in 2026. Changing jobs, starting their own business, or leaving a toxic environment. This will not be an impulse, but a conscious choice. You will no longer want to sell your soul for stability. In your personal life, 2026 will be a time of healing. If you've experienced betrayal, disappointment, or a difficult relationship, this year will mark the beginning of your emergence from this darkness. You'll stop living in the past. If you're in a relationship, the year could be either a time of profound renewal or a moment of honest separation. You'll no longer tolerate lies, coldness, and manipulation either from your partner or from yourself. Single Scorpios may meet someone with whom you don't need to play at strength and mystery. This will be a connection in which you can be authentic, vulnerable, and alive. And that's what makes it strong. Trust will be a very important theme of the year. You'll begin to learn to trust not just everyone, but life and yourself. You'll stop expecting a blow from every corner. A silver lining will also manifest itself through a renewed zest for life. You'll want to feel, love, take risks, and dream again. Not out of pain, but out of a desire to truly live. In the second half of the year, Scorpios will feel like they've changed. Stronger, calmer, deeper. Not through struggle, but through acceptance. A bright spot for Scorpios is a time when you emerge from the darkness not as a victim, but as someone who has been through fire and emerged pure. When you no longer destroy yourself for the sake of the past, but build a future for the sake of life. Sagittarius. For Sagittarius, 2026 marks a year of emerging from a crisis of meaning. In recent years, you may have felt as if your life had lost its direction. You used to be ablaze with ideas, dreams, and plans, but then suddenly you found that old goals no longer held joy, and new ones failed to ignite. You moved forward by inertia, without understanding why or for what purpose. This was your greatest crisis, the loss of your inner fire. The bright spot in 2026 begins with a return to faith. You will once again feel a desire to live not simply for the sake of duty, but for inspiration. New dreams, new horizons, and new meanings will emerge. You will begin to see life not as a series of problems, but as a space of opportunity. The bright spot for Sagittarius begins with a renewed worldview. You will stop clinging to old beliefs that no longer work. You will allow yourself to change. This could be a change in your views, profession, environment, or lifestyle. And in this will lie your strength. In terms of work and money, 2026 will bring Sagittarius a chance to break free from stagnation. Whereas previously you might have stagnated for long periods, movement will now emerge. You'll be offered new projects, trips, collaborations, and training. All of this will expand your horizons and generate income. Financial success will manifest itself through increased opportunities. Money will come not only through hard work, but also through ideas, connections, and new directions. You'll realize that the world is much bigger than you thought. In 2026, many Sagittarians will decide to move, travel, or change their environment. This won't be an escape, but a search. You'll want to live where you feel alive. In your personal life, 2026 will be a year of freedom and honesty. You'll no longer want to live in relationships that restrict, hold you back, and don't let you breathe. A financial success is when you choose love without cages. If you're in a relationship, the year can be a time of renewal through conversations, travel, and shared dreams. If your relationship has become a prison, you will find the courage to leave. Single Sagittarians may meet someone who shares your views, dreams, and zest for life. This will be a union not only of hearts, but also of hearts. A very important theme of the year will be trust in the future. You will stop fearing that all good things are temporary. You will learn to live in the here and now, without expecting the joy to end. A bright streak will also manifest itself through the return of laughter, lightness, and play. You will become yourself again. Someone who knows how to light a light even in the darkness. In the second half of the year, Sagittarians will feel they have found direction. You will know where you are going and why. This will give you strength and peace. A bright streak for Sagittarians is a time when you rediscover your path. When life ceases to be a road without signs and becomes a journey on which you want to move forward with a smile and faith. Capricorn. For Capricorns, 2026 marks a year of emergence from a period of heaviness and internal pressure. In recent years, you've felt a burden of responsibilities, expectations, and accountabilities that sometimes seemed unbearable. You made plans, worked tirelessly, sacrificed yourself for your goals, and the world didn't always respond fairly. This crisis was quiet but profound, and it paved the way for a brighter streak. For Capricorns, this bright streak in 2026 begins with the realization that burdens can be not only borne but also shared. You'll learn to ask for help, delegate, and accept support without losing your dignity and control. This will be a true revolution for this sign, which is used to carrying everything on its own. In work and finances, the year will bring long-awaited relief. If you previously felt that your efforts weren't producing the desired results, now stable opportunities for growth will arise. You may be offered a promotion, a project you've long wanted to lead, or the opportunity to realize your own idea. A positive streak manifests itself through confidence. You feel your efforts are appreciated. A positive financial streak will manifest through a gradual strengthening of stability. Money will cease to be a source of anxiety. You will be able to plan, invest, and afford more without worrying about everything falling apart. For Capricorns, 2026 will be a time of harmony and understanding in their personal lives. If you are in a relationship, your relationship will become deeper and more conscious. You will demand less and see your partner more for who they are. A positive streak manifests through trust and moving forward together. Single Capricorns may meet someone who understands their inner world and respects their aspirations. This will be a connection that supports but does not limit. Self-care will be a very important theme of the year. You will begin to understand that your health, energy, and inner peace are no less important than work and achievements. This will allow you to experience life with greater ease, joy, and confidence. A positive streak will manifest through inner confidence. You will stop doubting every step. Even if difficulties arise, you will know you can overcome them. In the second half of the year, Capricorns will feel that long years of struggle and stress are behind them. A time is coming when you can live calmly, with a clear head and an open heart. A bright spot for Capricorns is the moment when you stop living only for goals and achievements and begin to appreciate every day. When you learn to rejoice in your achievements, take pride in yourself, and allow yourself rest, warmth, and happiness without guilt. Aquarius. For Aquarians, 2026 marks a year of emerging from a period of uncertainty and inner chaos. In recent years, you may have felt that your ideas, dreams, and plans were getting lost in the currents of circumstances, and that the world often misunderstood you. You tried to stay ahead, seek new paths, and change yourself and the world around you, but you encountered misunderstandings, delays, and resistance. A bright streak in 2026 begins with the feeling that your efforts are finally beginning to yield real results. You will feel a decrease in internal tension. Situations that previously seemed difficult or impossible will gradually smooth out. You will begin to see patterns that were previously hidden and understand how to channel your ideas into practical action. A bright streak for Aquarians begins with a restoration of self-confidence. You will stop doubting your decisions and your abilities. You will understand that your original ideas, unconventional thinking, and unconventional approaches have value, and the world is beginning to recognize this. In work and finance, 2026 will bring Aquarius opportunities to implement projects that have long remained on paper. You may receive support from influential people, or new markets may open up. A positive streak will manifest itself through the realization that you are moving in the right direction, and your efforts are beginning to bear fruit. Financial success will manifest itself through stability and confidence. Money will become a tool for realizing ideas, not a source of stress. You will learn to allocate resources so that they work for you, rather than creating a feeling of constant scarcity. In your personal life, 2026 will be a time of harmony and mutual understanding for Aquarius. If you are in a relationship, your relationship will reach a new level of trust and support. You will be able to express your thoughts and feelings freely, without the fear of being misunderstood. Single Aquarius may meet someone who shares your views, values, and dreams. This will be a connection based on respect, understanding, and support, not on obligations or pressure. A very important theme of the year will be the return of joy to creativity and experimentation. You'll once again begin to enjoy new ideas, travel, and projects. This will breathe life into your routine and make you feel alive. A bright streak will also manifest itself through a strengthening of inner freedom. You'll stop adapting to others' expectations and build your life according to your own rules. In the second half of the year, Aquarians will feel confident in their planning and action. You'll see that your efforts are paying off, and this will bring peace and satisfaction. A bright streak for Aquarians is a time when your unique abilities and ideas are finally recognized. When you stop fighting the world and begin to live in harmony with it and with yourself. When your dreams begin to become reality, and you see that a bright streak has truly arrived. Pisces. For Pisces, 2026 marks a year of emerging from emotional and life uncertainty. In recent years, you may have felt driven by the current rather than your own decisions. You devoted too much energy to people and circumstances, often getting lost in their problems and forgetting about yourself. This created a feeling of constant crisis, even if everything appeared calm on the surface. A bright streak in 2026 begins with finding inner support. You will feel the inner chaos gradually subsiding. Old fears, doubts, and anxieties will begin to lose their hold on you. You will feel like you are once again in control of your life, that you are now making decisions not out of fear, but out of a desire to live fully and honestly with yourself. A bright streak for Pisces begins with the restoration of emotional harmony. You will learn to separate your needs from those of others, understanding where your responsibility ends and the freedom of others begins. This will allow you to feel a sense of inner relief and control. In terms of work and finances, 2026 will bring stability and the opportunity to realize hidden potential for Pisces. Projects that previously seemed too complex or unrealistic will become feasible. A positive streak will manifest itself through a gradual strengthening of your professional position and the ability to find satisfaction in your work. Financial success will manifest itself through income stability and confidence in the future. You will be able to better plan, save, and use resources for your goals, not just for immediate needs. Money will cease to be a source of anxiety and become a tool for fulfilling your life. In your personal life, 2026 will be a time of deep restoration and harmony. If you are in a relationship, you will experience a new quality of connection with your partner. More trust, understanding, and warmth. Old resentments will begin to dissolve, and you will be able to build a relationship based on honesty and support. Single Pisces may meet someone who understands their inner world and appreciates their emotional depth. This will be a relationship in which you can be sincere, open, and truly happy. Self-care will be a very important theme of the year. You will learn to make time for recharging your energy, creativity, and relaxation. This will allow you to feel energized and inspired, rather than exhausted and overwhelmed. A positive streak will also manifest itself through a return to the joy of life. You will once again notice the beauty around you, feel inspired, dream, and bring your ideas to life. This will be a time when your intuition and inner voice will begin to work for you, not against you. In the second half of the year, Pisces will feel that life is becoming predictable in a positive way. You know your goals, understand your strengths, and are able to create harmony around you. This will bring peace and confidence. A positive streak for Pisces is a time when you emerge from a crisis not through struggle, but through acceptance of yourself, your life, and the world around you. When the past ceases to weigh on you, and the future is filled with light, joy, and opportunity. When you feel that your positive streak has finally arrived.